Hey, everyone, and thanks for listening to the Metis Tech Show. Today, we're going to be speaking with Brent Davidson and Chris Morin about the U.S. Heat Pump Summit coming to the Worcester, Massachusetts DCU Center in November. But first, the Metis Minute.
Today's Metis Minute is about adding third-party float switches. Depending on the indoor unit being installed, there are different methods for adding a third-party float switch, such as a wet switch, float switch for a secondary drain port, or a condensate pump overflow switch. All P and S model indoor units will have a connector labeled CN4F. This connector has a small jumper wire that is used for normally closed safety switches. When the jumper is opened, the unit will shut off on a drain fault error. To use this jumper, simply cut into the wire, strip back the insulation, and wire in your safety switch. You may use multiple safeties wired in series. For example, a multi-position air handler mounted horizontally may have a float switch in the secondary drain port and also a wet switch in the auxiliary drain pan. Both of these safeties can be wired in series utilizing the CN4F connector once cut. On some units, there is no CN4F connector. In these instances, the S1 wire will need to be broken by the safety switch. The literature for the switch or condensate pump may indicate that the S3 wire should be broken. However, due to the serial communication traveling between S2 and S3 wires, it is not recommended to have those wires interrupted by a switch. And finally, with the A2L, FX, and GX wall mount units, a connector has been added called CN1S1, which works just like CN4F. The connector has a jumper wire that can be cut and used for normally closed safety switches. Thanks for listening to today's Metis Minute. Now let's start the show.
The Metis Tech Show.
Welcome to the Metis Tech Show, a show for HVAC professionals by HVAC professionals.
I like how you guys bounce back and forth between heat pump talk and food talk.
The Metis Tech Show.
Mitsubishi.
All right, Brent, so what's the deal with cheese curds?
Well, I want some right now, I would say, Paul. But, cheese curds are show up all across the U.S., but there's nothing like the cheese curds that show up in Wisconsin, where I'm calling in from here. So I grew up in Wisconsin, a little small town, Three Lakes, Wisconsin, North Central. And, we got cows on our license plate, and we're the cheese state. And for all of our football fans out there, we have the cheese heads as well. So if you live in Wisconsin and you're not rocking a cheese head, I'm not sure you're a true Wisconsinite. And any good Wisconsinite with a cheese head, Paul, is going to have some cheese curds in their fridge. And it's going to be the first thing they order at the bar. Right after Spotted Cow, actually, the state's proudest beer you can only buy in Wisconsin.
Oh, Spotted Cow.
Yeah, so I'm hopefully everyone's getting a little thirsty, a little hungry as I'm going in to tell you about cheese curds. But they're not just a mozzarella stick. There's a common misconception because you get them at the bar. They're breaded, They're gooey, they're delicious. But a cheese curd is really the first step in cheese making. And it's what you get when you add rennet and some bacteria, basically, because it's dairy stuff, into the milk. And then the protein casein starts to coagulate, which is really a word that makes me hungry, into your cheese curds. And then basically that's the starting of kind of all cheeses. The types of bacteria and stuff you add and how long you age it, whatnot, for changes it. But cheese curds are fresh cheese, basically. You deep fry them. They're little chunks of cheese naturally. You're not cutting them into chunks. And they squeak on your teeth. That's the other defining factor that we're proud of. That's kind of the bar that you raise if you're going to talk cheese curds in Wisconsin. Is it's got a squeak on your teeth.
And that's remember that episode with guys from Canada? They talked about the importance of squeaky curds.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And on the poutine, but that's the finish. The poutine is So we had
those are cheese curds. Yeah, they're not deep fried. We would typically have them deep fried here.
Of course,
straight out of the bag from the grocery store. I mean, that's pretty much just cheese. But once you deep fry them, really good thin breading. You'll get the squeak for sure.
You can't just eat that like dry though, Brent. Are you dipping it in something, or is it just straight up fried cheese?
So it depends. I mean, the really good ones have a really thin breading that's not like a shell, you like a mozzarella stick, but it's thin and flavorful. You're probably also tasting the fish that's in the fryer as well. So I like that personally. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, for me it'd be marinara sauce. Nowadays it seems like ranch is what everyone because we needed to fit more calories into cheese.
No, I like the marinara sauce. I had them in Wisconsin the first time I went up to Wausau. Wisconsin.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're north of Worcester.
Yeah. And I've mentioned this before. It's the only airport I've ever been in. And they're like, do you have any cheese or sausage in your bag?
Yeah.
What?
Pretty good impression.
Yeah.
That was pretty good, actually. You got the bag right.
Yeah. And then as far as being a cheesehead, the only respectful thing I can say is that Big Papi, former Red Sox megastar, was a cheesehead because he married a woman from Wisconsin. and so he was a big cheesehead. Other than that, I got nothing good to say about it.
All I know is I searched high and low for cheese curds here, and at least in southeastern Massachusetts, and I had no luck. I don't know about you,
Nothing.
Paul.
No, you won't find him here. Yeah, you got mozzarella sticks.
Kind of a bummer.
Is about it. Yeah, no.
If you do, it's not. I doubt it's real. They'll probably just chop up some mozzarella sticks, call it cheese curds.
Yeah, it's cheese curds. Whatever you want. Anyway.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to the Metis Tech Show. My name is Paul Schaves. Joining me in the studio is Steve Pimentel. Steve, say hi.
Hey, everyone.
And Bryn Raptor. Bryn, say hi.
Hello.
Right. Joining us remotely, we have two special guests. We welcome back once again Chris Morin with HVAC Pro Blog. Chris, say hi.
How's it going, guys?
All right. And Brent Davidson. Brent, tell us who you're with and what you do.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I created the U.S. Heat Pump Summit. And it's an event that's, trade show and conference format entirely for contractors. It's covering HVAC and water. And this is really all about getting the forward-thinking folks together who want to do the best installs and the best business with high-performance heat pumps.
Right. And Chris, you're the one who introduced us to Brent here. We had you on several episodes ago, actually a couple of times.
Yeah, time flies, doesn't it?
And what's your role in the Heat Pump Summit?
Yeah, so I met Brent at another expo last year or maybe 2 years ago in Chicago, and he told me about the U.S. Heat Pump Summit. I think he was doing it in Denver at the time, and I said, why don't you come to Massachusetts? It's like the mecca for heat pumps. And I guess he took my advice. I don't know. He reached out and he said, we're going to host one 20 minutes from your house, Chris. You want to come? So I said, sure. And how can I help? And I'm helping Brent put together some speakers and help with some promotion and some content. And I'm really excited to get to chat it up today with you guys.
All right. So Brent, you've had this event has already happened in other parts of the country.
Yeah, so this will be the third. And the first one, so normally while I'm calling in from Wisconsin, I live north of San Francisco a little ways, and I've been working in the software industry out there for a while. So I've done a wide variety of stuff in the solar world, everything from really complex financing tools in utility scale solar down to, iPad apps where you're using it for the in-home sale and estimation and stuff. And in that in-home work, I got, closer with a lot more HVAC contractors and just looking at, what's this picture of kind of the home going more electric, and, found that it was unclear if they needed another app, but it seemed like there was a lot of the install that we know how to do, but wasn't always being done right, in the home. And, some of that's for technical reasons, some of it's for training reasons, a lot of it's for business reasons, that people aren't really incentivized the right way. And it just seemed like there was a lot of conversation building up around heat pumps. And I looked around a little bit and did not find somewhere that was, the core, this is where you go to talk about heat pumps, in HVAC and water. And yeah, I was interested in starting a business and helping folks do good work with this technology. And it just made sense to try out. So the first one was a real flyer. I just capped it at 4 months max. I figured I could pull something together by then. And I had enough network from the solar world to, hop, skip, and a jump, meet some key folks in HVAC in the Northern California market. And yeah, so we hosted a couple hundred people for the first one. It was a little bit more broad focused. The second one, we really dialed in on that technical training. And this third one, we're really dialing into really actually an even amount of technical training and, business content, putting successful contractors with, people who are successful with heat pumps on stage, tell behind the scenes and stuff like that. So entirely contractor focused. There is a bit of rebate stuff there, but this is not for rebate people. And it's really just about how to succeed, in the field and in the office. when you're trying to do good work with heat pumps.
Oh, this is good because 50% of what we talk about is heat pumps, and the other 50% is food. So,
I was going to say, yeah.
So that's good. Actually, it's more like 60. I'm going to say it's about 67.3% heat pumps.
Okay.
And
well, if you want to figure out how to barbecue with a heat pump, I will definitely give you some space at the event, Paul.
Really? Because I think we have a booth. I think we do have a booth there. We will be there.
Mitsubishi's got a booth, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll be there. We'll actually be doing some podcasts from that booth there. And what are the dates of this event in Worcester?
Yeah, so it's 18th and 19th of November. Yeah, this fall in Worcester.
All right, so it's quite a ways away, so plenty of time to get ready for it.
Well, we say Worcester in Massachusetts, just so you know. I mean, Brent's got it down.
Still working on it.
Yeah, that's really close, Brent. I mean, it's almost as good as your Wisconsin accent, Paul, earlier.
Yeah.
But when he says Worcester, there's a lot of places in Worcester. It's at the DCU Center. It's not like a small event here. We're talking about a huge trade show and a lot of training. It's a big deal.
I almost called it the Worcester Centrum because that was the original.
Yeah, there you go.
The original name when it opened
Nice.
up. Brent and I were talking about that. The first opening act at the Worcester Centrum was Frank Sinatra, and on the 50th year anniversary, he went back there, and I actually went to that show. But it was called the Worcester Centrum, and my son was born across the street.
There you go.
My oldest. Anyway,
Nice.
Very cool.
So
But yeah,
Brent,
to build on what Chris said there, I mean, yeah, so the first one was really sort of a flyer. I mean, it's hard hosting an event, when you're kind of coming in from a neighboring industry, you're really not sure if anyone's going to show up. So It was a little nerve wracking, but it really ended up hitting well. And then the Denver one was awesome. I just had some building science network there. But Chris was right. I mean, I met Chris just a few weeks after we had picked Denver, met him at AHR. And but he's right. I mean, the Northeast is where this stuff's going on. So we're shooting for 800 to 1,000 people. Wow. I don't know we could count on the website quick how many sponsors. It's some majors. Really great equipment manufacturers like TEC. True Tech Tools distributors. So we'll get into this more. But yeah, it's a full trade show event. We're gonna have about 40 speakers. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of content here for people. 2 full days.
that's excellent, Brent. So say I'm a contractor, never attended the Heat Pump Summit. What kind of what am I going to see for vendors?
Yeah, let's just pull up the list here. It'll be a little easier to do this live. So, I mean, first and foremost, Mitsubishi. I mean, let's be real. You're going to have Paul and Steve in the booth. They're going to be. I heard they're going to be freestyle rapping actually in the booth.
Why not?
Yeah, put some B-vent through the ceiling, and we can bring a smoker. And we can smoke some.
I like it. So yeah, just running through. I mean, so we've got the Bell Simons companies. So Bell Simons, Total Air Supply, API, Delta T, Sasco, Casca. So big Northeast presence. We're super excited to have them on board. One I got to give a shout out is also on our speaker committee with Chris and I, Energy Circle, marketing firm. So this is a bit more for the business audience. But Peter Trost from that. Amply, Northeast company, doing some really awesome. Chris could really explain it better, but using LiDAR on the iPad to do your heat load calculations. iWallet is another one, really great tool for mobile payments once you're done with the job in the home. AirZone is one I'm really excited about, some zoning stuff. And part of the reason Chris came on is really to get into some of the more technical topics here. I'd say I'm dangerous, but I'm not lethal with my technical knowledge.
That's
so
okay.
We're leaning on a lot of experts. Ecobee, Google Nest, True Tech Tools. So yeah, it's a good, sort of core set of companies, serving the industries. There are other manufacturers, but I'm definitely not going to name them on your podcast.
That's okay. Are the Patriots? Are you getting a couple of Patriots cheerleaders there? Because
I heard you had the hookup, Paul. So let me know if you can pull up.
Actually, I know I'm not allowed. Restraining order, everything. Anyway, let's move on.
Nice. Yeah, I like Brent was saying, there's a lot of great people that are coming as exhibitors and trainers. It's one of those events where, as a technician, like if I was to go to the AHR Expo, I could see all these people, right? But I have to fly to Las Vegas or Chicago in the winter, and there's going to be tens of thousands of people there, and I'm not going to get to talk to them. right? But if I was a technician walking around here, I could walk up to the Energy Conservatory booth, probably see Chris and understand, and he can show me how to use the TrueFlow plate, right? Or I could sit down with the guys from TrueTech Tools and learn about Measure Quick and stuff. I mean, there's so many good trainers and a large collection of knowledge where you're not going to be able to see them in one place, particularly in New England. We just, unfortunately, we don't get the AHR Expo in New England, right?
No, because it happens in January or February usually, and nobody wants to take a chance that it's going to get snowed out.
Exactly.
Which is okay. So I'd rather go to Orlando in February anyway. So
yeah, well, yeah. As long as you can get out, right,
yes.
Paul?
Yes, I'll find a way to get out.
Yeah. So I can build a little on what Chris was saying. I mean, the whole idea behind this thing is let's get together, the forward-thinking group of contractors that really want to dive in deep on this stuff. So, the sort of key word here is the intimate-sized event. This is not the zoo of AHR, and it's far more targeted. Our goal organizing it is when you bump into someone, getting a coffee, you strike a cup of conversation right away because the other people at this event are interested in the same stuff that you are. This is about succeeding with heat pumps in a residential context. I wouldn't turn away commercial people. If you're new to heat pumps, you are going to learn a ton. But right now, we are focused in on that residential category, and we're also doing some exciting stuff just to generate more connections like that. At the event, there'll be hosted roundtables throughout both full days. So this will be open all speakers to host. So Chris is definitely going to be hosting at least one table, other speakers, and then we'll kind of be inviting some of the a few sponsors, but more so some of our, I would say, esteemed guests, on to say, hey, have a conversation that's really detailed on something super niche and focused. Be about a half an hour, up to 8 people at one table, so everyone can actually talk to each other. And events, from my perspective, the content kind of draws people. But the things that people really take away from it, I think, are often the conversations, both in terms of new connections, but in ways to digest that content that was presented on stage right away. So, you can end up having a really great conversation with Chris about, you name it, that was presented. But maybe that's really not going to fully click for you until, going in deeper with another nerd, at the space at the event here.
Yeah. When I was in a truck, I used to love to go to events like this, like locally, again, here in Massachusetts, they have the annual PHCC show. I used to love going to that. Walk out of there, you meet a bunch of people, you'd find out about new tools and new products. And, there's some training events behind that as well, but you make those connections. So I'm actually looking forward to this.
Very cool. Yeah, well, we're excited to have Mitsubishi obviously sponsoring, excited to be on the podcast here. We could talk about some of the speakers that are coming.
Yes,
I mean, the content is still a big part of the event. Don't get me wrong. There's a couple. So, like I said, this event's really kind of split in half. One half really for the business audience, one half for the technical audience. So Chris is going to go a little bit more into some of the technical stuff, but, right off the bat, I think a name that a lot of folks in the Northeast, especially in the Mitsubishi world know, is Scott Libby.
Oh, yeah.
So Scott Libby is going to, be coming in, talking a lot about, actually, off the top of my head, forget the session here, but going to be talking a lot about, the business side of stuff. We can get into some more of that content. Ty Brannaman, HVAC Chicks, and then another big Northeast one, Homeworks Energy. So, their Homeworks is a really big contractor, a little bit more on the weatherization side, doing a lot more HVAC now, but Bill Graham, and then some of their leadership, the event's still a little ways out here. So some of our speakers are still fluid, but, Chris Nichols or their CEO, Martin, really phenomenal company. I mean, they've grown to, it's like 500 or 600 employees right now. Really open to sharing, some of their strategies, a lot of behind the scenes content, some really great contractors, on stage there. One other one would be the CEO of HomeX. So this gets in a little, hot topic around private equity coming into the space. We as an event, we're here just to host these conversations. I'm not here to take a big stand on what people should or shouldn't be doing, but we are trying to peel back the curtain a little bit on some of these things. So he's going to be talking about, hey, how do we value companies? What are we looking for? Very open conversation. And again, intimate size event if you want to get to know someone like that. The pitch for that one would be, if you don't have a plan to someday cash out of your business, you should be looking at something like this. Doesn't mean you have to do it, but it means you get more information. And that's kind of how I view a lot of this content. So little quick, tidbit on the business side, but I'd kind of hand it over to Chris a little to, who's on our speaker committee here, esteemed speaker committee, Mr. Morin, talk a little bit about some of the technical content.
Oh,
Thanks, Bryn. Yeah.
before you do that,
sure.
Chris, Scott Libby, you just reminded me, we had him on the show, I don't know, maybe a year ago. I don't know when it was.
Oh, nice.
Year and a half ago.
2 years ago now.
Yeah, and he promised us we could go up there and get a lobster roll, and we never did.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so he said the best lobster roll in the country is up in Maine. So I don't know. We got to find a way to get up
I've
there.
had a couple in Portsmouth that are pretty good, but I think the place might have burned down. I forget the name of it.
Well, he was going to take us on his boat and bring us to this thing.
Yeah, we'll catch him in November.
And then Ty Brandon,
There you go.
promised to be on our show as well, so we're going to grab him there and get.
There you go.
I want to talk to him about.
You know where he's going to be November 18th.
Yeah, just to get off topic a little bit, he did this YouTube video where they took a vacuum pump to a 55-gallon drum and it imploded. A 4 CFM battery operated vacuum pump. It was so cool, but he explained exactly the science behind why this imploded, but a 3/8 line or a 3/4 inch copper line and coil will not implode. I mean, it was just amazing. So anyway, I can't wait to go there for that alone. But wait, there's more.
I just looked it up. We got differentiation in a commoditized market is one of the things that Scott's going to be talking on along with Bill Graham from Homeworks. So, good stuff. And I got to ask, did they do that before or after the Titan submersible, imploded at depth?
Oh, I think it was well before. I think that's been out.
They should have sent the video to him.
Yeah, we probably should not talk about that.
Sorry.
So that's what I was going to ask, and Chris, I know you're going to get into it, but if I'm a contractor, I want to know, is there going to be some technical training available there at the Heat Pump Summit? What kind of training is it? Is it applications based? Is it all applications? Is some technical training in there?
Yeah, so I think you're going to find it's a good combination of applications and system design. So they have some great, progressive type trainings, right? So we have some awesome instructors. Alex Meany, he happens to live in Massachusetts. He's going to be there teaching a bit of an overview when it comes to system design manuals. And if you want more detail, then you can go to Bryn, Cooksey, and Eric Kaiser's more fundamental manual JS and D information, right? And if you want even more information on, like, say, manual S and those sort of technical details and math behind it, Eric Fitz from Amply is going to be teaching a session as well. So you can get a higher level, you can go really in depth, or you could take all of them, or swing over to a business course as well, right? And that's only 3 of the instructors. I mean, there's a long list of technical instructors. Brent already mentioned Jennifer with HVAC Chicks. I think she's pretty well known. But, guys like Chris Hughes, I mentioned from the Energy Conservatory, is going to be talking. He is a former contractor and an awesome instructor when it comes to quality installation, measuring airflow and understanding what's going on, and using their apps that they build to help you do that quickly and repeatable. So you're not going to be able to get that sort of combination of, quality installation, verification training, system design training, and, what to look for even as a technician with heat pumps, right? Because you need to know how it's designed in order to sometimes diagnose these homes.
Absolutely.
If the system's running fine, sometimes it's not the box, right? Sometimes it's how the system wasn't or was poorly designed, right? And it could be the ducts, it could be the refrigerant charge, it could be the airflow, it could be a long list of things, particularly with today's technology and how everything's basically a computer.
Yeah, and you know this, Chris. Typically, airflow is, I think, as a technician, that's our weakness. We need to understand that. We can't be the contractor who just comes in, swap out a furnace, throw in another coil, or do whatever. We have to look at the whole house as an envelope, as a package, and I think that's important. We actually added airflow to our M&P Essentials class for the ducted units, just because we recognize that, hey, that's an area the contractors need training in. So that's always good. Stuff like that's always good.
You know what's important, and not to turn this into a diagnostic class here, but if you are trying to figure out what's wrong with the system that appears to be working correctly, right? The first thing you need to do is measure the airflow or check the airflow setting if it's an ECM motor, right? Don't adjust dampers. Don't assume it's bad ductwork. Don't add refrigerant charge, right? Don't do any of that until you make sure the airflow is right.
Yeah.
And obviously learn how to use good, repeatable tools and processes to do that, So that's number one. Then work on the rest of the stuff. Then, okay, if the airflow is right, is the charge right? Is the duct design correct? Like all of the rest of the things can happen. Don't skip that step.
Absolutely. That's important.
When I was in a van, I used to call it ABC, airflow before charge.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
nice.
fantastic. Yeah.
We got
a good spot to plug that Chris is also going to be a speaker, although we haven't picked his exact topic yet, but he's really excited to get on stage.
Yeah, and that roundtable you're talking about, Brent, too. I think I very rarely do I get an opportunity to speak to like 8 to 10 people with specific questions. It's always like 100 people on Zoom or 200 people in a room, and it's very direct, right? Or it's one-on-one coaching. Right. So it's going to be interesting to see how the conversation goes with a roundtable like that. I think that sort of intimate setting is a huge opportunity for me because it's not something I get to do very often, and I have to imagine some things like, I recently wrote a book on leadership. I'm sure I'm going to get some questions on that. I may get questions on manuals J, S, and D or something. And what's cool is you're going to get people that are technical trainers from around the country that have seen different things and designed for different reasons. Right? Like a guy that's designing a heat pump in Arizona does not design the same as Scott Libby does on the coast of Maine. Totally different way of designing, different latent loads, different airflow setup. So you're going to get a different perspective when you go to their class. So if you've only seen me, because I teach a lot in New England, come and see the other guys and learn their perspective and ask about that unique installation that you're having that I've never seen before. That's a way to do it.
All right.
Love it.
No, this sounds good. I'm really can't wait. Can't wait for it. There's a bunch of people I've seen on the list who I'd like to speak to, maybe have on the show. So we're going to have our whole kit there. So for those who've listened to the last time we did live, we were in Chicago, went to a couple of restaurants, and the kit that we brought with us didn't quite work well, and we had some audio. So this time we're bringing the 600-pound kit instead of the 5-pound kit.
Yeah, we'll have
the good thing is it's down the street from the training center, right? So you have to go too far with it.
It's about 15 or 20 minutes from my house, no more. And like I said, I know the area, and it's it's Worcester, but if you look at it on the map, it looks like it's Worcester, but it's Worcester is how we pronounce it. And it used to be the old Centrum. Like I said, it's the DCU Center, which is a digital credit union, and it's a huge place. I mean, they play hockey games there. They got a big the whole. What I call the convention center side of it, which is, I'm assuming, the space you're going to be in. So it's a huge building, and it's a good event. And if you're in the Northeast, it's easy to get to from any of the New England states. It's not that bad of a drive. You can if you're flying into Boston or Bradley, or it's not that far of a drive, either one. So.
Yeah, there's a bunch of options actually to fly in, Paul. A lot of people don't realize some large major airlines fly straight into Worcester.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of flights a day, but that's only like a 3-terminal airport.
Right.
And it's super inexpensive to go in and out of if you're able to get a flight there. Otherwise, most people will opt for maybe Manchester, New Hampshire, or Boston,
Providence,
maybe even TF Green in Providence,
Bradley,
or Warwick.
Yeah, Bradley's not that far. Yeah,
so you're kind of in between all of them.
Yeah.
It's really simple. It is a highway there. In other words.
Yeah, there is. So anybody on the East Coast, it's a real easy place to get to. There's plenty of parking, big parking garages, and there's a lot of good places to eat in Worcester. A lot of good restaurants in there. We should have a list ready when people come. Yeah. People are going to ask us. We find that people ask us. Every time. Why is it people keep asking me where to eat? Where the best places? How do I know? I thought it was because of my weight. Turns out it's because of the show. Well, it could be because of my weight.
So
Brent, that's why it's on the show.
Brent, I apologize if you mentioned it already, but besides us, are there any other podcasts that are going to be on site that week?
On site, that's a good question. Well, we are still recording this in July here, so we're looking at some kind of podcast booth. But we're pretty close friends with the Ampli team. So Ampli Energy, doing the LiDAR scan for your heat load calculations. They have a really good podcast as well.
Yeah.
It's a bit more wide ranging.
Yeah, I listen to them.
Yeah, so definitely in some way them. Chris maybe will do a live blog from his site. No, I don't know, but yeah, at the moment, I'd say the list is still coming together.
That's great.
Good. And again, what are the dates of this?
Yeah, 18th and 19th. And again, I'll suffer. I'll try it again. It's in Worcester, Mass.
No, not Worcester.
It got worse, Brent.
I know
worse.
it got worse.
No, say.
Yeah.
Listen to me carefully. Say
Worcester.
No, say Worcester.
Worcester.
Worcester. That's it.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Better than
Worcester.
my wife. My wife's from Boston.
Yeah.
Worcester.
Yeah.
I'm gonna practice in the mirror after this. But yeah, about a 45-minute drive, from Boston, and then you also can take the train out. So if you don't want to deal with the rental car, you don't want to deal with traffic, you want to get some work done, en route. I think the total ends up being about 2 hours, but it's pretty door to door from not too far from the airport to downtown of the town that I just said.
I actually know that road. It goes very close to where I live. So if you fly in, you would go to South Station. South Station, you can take the commuter rail all the way to Worcester. It's the last stop.
Yeah.
So and you're literally, I don't know, 3 blocks from the DCU.
Takes you right
Center.
downtown.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then, in terms of other things we're putting together between now and then, for distributors, it's a huge opportunity, to get in front of the forward-thinking contractors. I mean, if you're coming to an event that's, the U.S. Heat Pump Summit, it is a ticketed event. We do have some discounts going around, but that is really part of the strategy of really getting people who want to be there. So that's a great opportunity for any distributors that are wanting to get in front of this audience. Anyone who's interested, in sponsoring or just has questions about the event, I'm just Brent at usheatpumpsummit.com. So that's Brent. I did grow up with a Brett, so in person that's fine, but email doesn't know that. And really just looking to get in touch with anyone who's interested in having a presence at the event, whether that's podcast or we obviously have more room on the trade show floor. DCU Center is a large space, and we're excited about putting this event together because it's this sort of bedrock of what's happening in the home. And, to zoom out a little bit, kind of putting on my solar background, that hat, you guys are very well familiar with the performance, of heat pumps. You can get in all these other ancillary things, but when it comes down to it, that comfort, is really high quality. And obviously in the Northeast, switching from a home that's, got a radiator, it's a huge, huge boost. Where it gets really interesting and some leading edge things that are coming that I think a lot of HVAC folks don't have on the radar yet is, really the batteries coming to the home. The cost, these things are going down. There's reasons why the utilities want them, to even out. Even if you don't get into renewables, I mean, we've used peak power plants for decades. Most utilities would rather have you buy a battery than them build a peak power plant. So there's a whole, and that's not to say they're offloading the cost to you. There's benefits of you having that. Some utilities will pay for it. But there's a lot that's going on with just the fact that these are electric pieces of equipment that are just very different at thinking. Than coming from, a gas furnace world. So, we're not getting into that a ton, but that's, something we want to be adding, of really combining with, adding in solar and electrical, into an event that's a bit more dynamic, a bit more cross trades, where you can really start, boosting your knowledge way beyond just talking about that air comfort, but really talking about this whole energy picture of the home, because it's changing. And regardless of anyone's views on if we should use power from the sun or not, there's just a lot of reasons why something like a battery, is a part of the grid mix and is only going to be more so.
I'm just going to comment on that, the power from the sun. There was a congressperson, I'm not going to mention the name, several years ago that was concerned with so many solar panels going up that we would use up all the sunlight. And that's not even a joke. That's actually true. And this person's in Congress, or was anyway. I don't know.
You could get. I mean, you would take a lot of solar panels. You are taking that heat energy, away and turning electricity. But you would take a lot of solar panels.
We could cover the earth with solar panels. Yeah. So, all right. So, I like this because it's new products. It's training. It's business development. And growth. It's a little bit of everything for anybody interested in the heat pump trade or in the heat pump trade. So if I'm a contractor, you said it's a ticketed event. How do I get tickets? Yeah, so usheatpumpsummit.com. Yep. And I'd be willing for this audience to give out Chris's referral code, which is just Morin, Morin. Mm-hmm. And there's a URL for it too, but I'll just say it. It's a little annoying on the podcast, but usheatpumpsummit.com/partner/Chris Morin.
And I just helped Chris out with his referral codes because there's some bonuses, if he gets to a certain amount. But 20% discount until I think September 1st off the early bird ticket, which is $750. And we've put a lot of work into trying to pick the price points of this. This includes food for both days. It's at a quality event center, and it also helps bring out the people who really just care about this topic. It's going to be a very highly engaged audience here.
Oh, beautiful. And you may not be able to answer this just yet, but in the years to come, how do you see this progressing or growing? Or
Yeah, it's a good question. So I teased out a little bit. The core is definitely going to be, this event here still. We're going to be in, I think, the same spot, same venue for 2026. We'd like to add commercial to it next year. It's a very natural fit. From an event experience perspective, we're going to be really critical with making sure that, most people are doing kind of only residential or only commercial. There's obviously some light commercial overlap. But, when you go to an event, it should be very clear where sort of you belong in that event. I hate going to HR, HR is fun. There's a lot of reasons why you should go to HR. I don't want to talk bad about another event, but it's hard when you're looking for your people. And so, keeping that event residential, commercial, but same time, same place. Soon, very soon, we'll be launching a newsletter called the Heat Pump Edge. And so it's going to be a bit more on the business side around, how do you really combine quality building science-backed technical installs and designs with, a business environment that's going to support that. The long-term quality work, word of mouth, having a strategy to kind of deploy all that correctly in the field and online, it does pay dividends, and we see people having success with that versus, a sales focused thing where you're going to juice the, a couple of years, but the work doesn't stand up, et cetera. So it's trying to be an actionable source of information for owners who really want to, walk the talk and talk the walk. Did I say that correctly?
Sure.
I wasn't listening. You could have. I don't know.
And then longer term, we really want to bring this kind of model, of the trade show plus the newsletter stuff across each of, solar, HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. Because as I was just saying, with the home going electric, and there's just good physics reasons to do that, we're seeing it accelerated a little bit by some of the policy reasons, and that's an ongoing conversation we're obviously not going to get into here. But, those trades are going to be working together in ways that, historically they haven't. So I don't know what the branding is going to be. The U.S. Electric Home Summit, I don't think is exactly the right branding. So maybe it's the U.S. Heat Pump Summit plus some other events, but it would all be at one venue side by side. And we'd be coming up with some really thoughtful ways of getting good conversations across those trades, as well as going just as deep, if not deeper, in each.
All right. That sounds good.
Brent, don't forget about, we're going to have some virtual stuff coming up leading up to the event, right? So yeah, I don't know the cadence here, but I committed to helping Brent's team deliver some training for people that do purchase tickets to get some information leading up to the event as well with some of our trainers.
That's a good idea.
Yes, this is good. So this will be probably just after this podcast comes out, but we're going to be doing heat pump happy hours. So it's on Zoom, and before you think this sounds really boring,
I heard happy hour. I'm good.
So again, this attracts a targeted audience if someone wants to come to the U.S. Heat Pump Summit. And we've done a little bit of this, but never in a more organized way. What we're going to do is most likely weekly having a sort of evening happy hour type thing. It'll be 1 hour, a very short sort of opening presentation to kind of set the topic of the evening. Then 2 15-minute breakout sessions, only with 3 people in each Zoom room. So we're trying to get as close as possible to replicating, that in-person event. You're more than welcome to bring your favorite happy hour drink of choice. But, these folks that are coming to this, that engage with this stuff online, that listen to your show, they want to talk, they want to meet more people. The joke is, that your spouse is tired of hearing about heat pumps, so you should probably come to the happy hour. So we'll be dialing this format in a little bit more. Just go to usheatpumpsummit.com to find out info. We'll put it on the site somewhere there. But we're kind of co-hosting this with Chris with HVAC Pro Blog. And yeah, we'll see where it goes, but it's just another touch point to be creating those good relationships with people. That's half the value of the event, and we can pretty easily deliver a lot of that value up front. It'll at first be open to everyone, and then at some point closer to the event, we're going to close it to just ticketed attendees to really make sure those relationships are being built, and then where you'll experience an in-person connection, at the event.
All right. That sounds good.
I'm excited, Paul. Metis Tech Show is going to be there, and we're going to have swag to give away. You'll probably have your pens. You're real good. You love your pens.
I love my pens.
They're loaded with all these like screwdrivers and rulers and everything. But what I'm thinking, Paul, is if someone brings us food, you'll get even better swag. I'm just saying. So if you got cheese curds and you're coming from Wisconsin, bring them down. You're going to get something special from us.
You have to be careful when you say things like that, because I got a story. So
it's cue in the story music.
Yeah, the story music. So I used to teach at a school, entry-level students, and students don't read the student guide that says you got a 10-minute grace period. Well, class started at, let's just say, 7:30, and I said I expect people to be in their seats at 7:30 sharp. The door closes. Do not come in that door unless you bring me a coffee. And one day I ended up with like 17 coffees on my desk. So you got to just be careful. So,
you bring a rack of ribs, you just may get a heat pump.
I'll give you an outdoor unit. We'll come to your house and install it for a rack of ribs. It may not work, but we'll after I get done with it, but with my back. Anyway, Brent and Chris, thank you both for joining us. Brent, give us the website one more time in case somebody doesn't want to hit the 15-second rewind button.
usheatpumpsummit.com.
Chris, give us your website.
Oh, hvacproblog.com. Yeah,
All
so
right.
if you're interested in learning something new today, you can also find me on YouTube for free.
Yeah, that's true. YouTube influence. All right. Anything else, guys, to add? I think we're done.
No,
Appreciate having us on. It's fun.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. So we'll see you. It's November 18th.
November 18th, 19th in Worcester.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's
it's
close.
So I'll let you slide on that.
Worcester, like
We gotta
lobster.
get him with the Red Sox hat or something
So-
on the way out.
If Brent, you bring some cheese curds or some pork tenderloin sandwiches with you, if they can survive on the plane, I mean, I'm just saying, wouldn't be a bad thing.
We'll see what I can pull together.
All right, because
Paul, what do we have in Worcester? What's like a good Worcester food for him?
there's a lot of
kind of a mix of everything,
Italian
right?
restaurants. There's some Polish.
Yeah.
There's a Polish market in there. There's an Asian market.
Shrewsbury Street, right?
Yeah, there's all kinds of. You go any restaurant in Shrewsbury Street. It's like similar to the North End in Boston, but smaller.
Yeah.
Bryn, aren't you close to Worcester?
I'm like a half an hour. I've only
You're like
been
2 hours
twice.
north of Worcester.
Yeah.
Well, I've been twice.
It is the second largest city in New England.
Is it really?
It's bigger than Concord. It's bigger than Hartford. It's bigger than whatever the cities are in Maine. If you even have
Bigger than
cities,
Providence. Is it bigger than Providence?
it's bigger than Providence.
By area.
Wow.
Yeah, by area, or is it
By
area or
heat pump.
population?
I don't know.
I'd say the area. It might be area population. I don't know, but I was always told it's the second largest city in New England. Of course, it's bigger than Burlington, Vermont, but then again, there's a town, Bolton, Massachusetts, is bigger than Burlington, and that's like 5,000 people live there. So
There's a town called Coleraine, Massachusetts. It's the third largest in the state by area, and there's about 900 residents.
there's a town. There's a town that has 63 residents out that way. Your neck of the woods, where if you keep going, you fall off the edge of the earth. I don't know where it is.
Up by the dungeons.
Yeah.
I heard it is the number one host of the US Heat Pump Summit. It has been anywhere else, so that is also a claim to fame.
Oh wow. There
There
you
you
go.
go.
We gotta start leading with that one, Brent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there should
Once
be
you
a
get the
trivia
name right.
question. There should be a trivia question. What was the first act at the Centrum, Worcester Centrum?
There you go.
Or what was it
Yeah.
called before it was the DCU
You got to do a
Center?
trivia board at your booth.
We should.
Local trivia.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah, and
idea.
then you know who's listening all the way through, Paul.
Oh, that's true.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll see how many people bring us food.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Maybe Nick from Hawaii will come.
Gonna get some like brontosaurus
Bring us
ribs or
some
something.
poi.
Some, like big Fred Flintstone ribs or something. That's what I'm looking for.
I don't know. I'm kind of afraid to eat food brought to me by strangers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can be a little weird.
I insult a lot of people.
we're
unintentionally.
weird anyways.
Yeah,
It doesn't
but,
matter.
Steve will just try it first for you, Paul.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'll be the I'd keel over.
The Jester.
It ends there.
All right, guys.
All right.
We'll see
Thanks
you
a
on the
lot.
next one.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us on. Appreciate it.